Hi everyone, it's the EnglishSimmer here, and this video is brought to you through the EA Game Changers program, so big thank you to EA for providing me with an early access code so that I could get this paranormal stuff content out to you lot. And in today's video, I have never really done this type of video for a stuff pack, especially because I usually just do reviews. However, because I was so initially excited for this stuff pack and it's like a theme that's so up my alley, and also you guys really seem to enjoy my replayability videos for expansions, I decided why don't we discuss the replayability factor of The Sims 4 paranormal stuff. But just keep in mind, this is a stuff pack, and obviously I want to start off this video with what is the main point when it comes to replayability of this pack is you're gonna get the most replay value out of this if you are a fan of paranormal things, if you're a fan of occult gameplay, if you're a fan of ghosty elements. That's where this pack shines for players who do enjoy the darker, kind of weirder side of The Sims 4. I feel like if you really like realistic family gameplay, this probably isn't gonna be a pack that interests you really. So Create a Sim, I'm not gonna go into too much detail. I really like it. I like all of the elements. I do think there was a missed opportunity, which is my favorite saying in these types of videos. I think the masculine tag should have actually got some corduroy flares, because they have an incredible suit, and yet they don't have bottoms to really match it, and I just feel like they could have easily added some corduroy flares and it would have looked impeccable. It's very similar to Laundry Day stuff and Strangerville in my opinion. I went back and had a look through both of those things, even the cuts and the certain dresses that we get, and the poofy sleeves and the crops, very, very similar. So if you like those two, I feel like you'll probably get a lot of use out of this stuff as well. Keep in mind, it's fairly limited. It's a stuff pack. There's not a load of items that you get in Create a Sim. I personally think build and buy mode is one of the strongest we've seen in a long time. I will say it is fairly colourful. However, everything that we have in there isn't really tied to a spooky element. There are a couple of items that shout spooky or antique, and even though it is colourful, they have added some natural swatches. There are a couple of items where natural wood swatches are definitely missing, and I would say that comes to the cabinet and the desk the most. They just really have colourful blues and yellows and reds, but they don't really have any neutral woods. They have white and black but no brown. It's a little bit strange to me, especially considering some of the other objects have wood tones, but those two don't. Just seems like a slightly missed variation on the swatches, but what's new? I feel like we always get some missed swatches when it comes to The Sims 4. However, on the flip side of that, although it's very usable and it's not really tied to the spooky stuff, if you were expecting more of a spooky element and a few more cursed objects, there are a couple that you can access through debug. However, they are actually gameplay elements, so they'll have an effect on your Sims moodlets and they'll either make them tense or scared, which can get very aggravating very quickly. And then the biggest element of this pack, in my opinion, is the gameplay. So I've kind of split these up into little sections that are way more easy to digest. So when it comes to the brand new skill, we obviously get the medium skill, which actually caps out at a level 5. You start the career already maxed out in the medium skill. I definitely would have preferred it if it was a level 10 skill, but at level 5 you actually unlock the career and you got to do all of the stuff that you get to do at level 5, and then maybe for the next 5 steps of the skill, maybe unlocking some more interactions with the specters, interacting with the ghosts. I find it weird how that doesn't get your skill up, but I realize that it's because it's a level 5 skill, so if it did get your skill up, you'd just be going up in this skill so quickly. It's also very easy to get up. Literally all you have to do is spam interactions on the seance table. We are also getting the new career, which is actually a freelancer career. I will say it's very much like freelancer careers we have seen in the past when it comes to The Sims 4. A lot of the actions that you can do in this career, the jobs are quite repetitive. Like, they do not change actually at all, no matter what level, because obviously you join it most probably when you're a level 5 and you're the maxed out. You can just do every single job in that one job. And what I mean by that is they don't take like elements of that job and apply it to different hauntings. Literally everything that you can do in a haunted house, you can do on the job. You can talk to the specters. I keep saying Skepta. Blumminack. So you can talk to the ghost, you can kick or mop up the objects that they leave, and you can also do seances once you reach level 5. And that's the same for every single one. So whether it's easy, medium, or hard, you still have to do all of those things, and they're all accessible from the get-go. So there really isn't any variation. And again, I think this could have been done better if it was a level 10, and then maybe you had different interactions with some of the things that pop up around the home, like the further you get into that skill branch. I think that definitely could have helped it not feel quite as repetitive. It's a fun career, but it's definitely not going to add longevity to your game. If you enjoy freelancers, you enjoy working with your Sims whilst they're on the job, you'll probably enjoy it like the first few times. And also, I would have liked a little bit of a challenge. And what I mean by that is when you do get different spawns, like maybe if you got the doll or the clay hands, right now it's just using the kick animation, whereas I would have liked it to be a little like mini game, such as the gnomes in Seasons. Like with the gnomes, I don't know if everyone knows this, but the gnomes have different abilities and they like different things, so you have to figure out what they like to appease them, whereas with these interactable objects that you have on the job and in haunted houses, there's like no challenge to it whatsoever. You just kick it and it goes, or you try to mop it or kick it and it terrifies your sim, which I have to say I'm already getting annoyed by the terrified emotion, because especially if you're in the career and you don't have the brave trait, your sims will take so long to do stuff because they'll just get this terrified emotion and they won't want to interact with anything that's on the job. So there's a little bit of challenge when it comes to that emotion. However, I would have liked to see it in a randomization of interactions that you had to do to actually appease the spirits. And that's another thing, the spirits, like, you just go through and see what works for them. There's no randomization to it whatsoever. It's just like, oh, maybe this will work, maybe it won't work. And so you just try everything and hope that it works, and it doesn't really feel like a different interaction every time, no matter what spirit it is. Like, even if you have a sad spirit or a happy spirit, there's no difference there. At least I don't think there is. From my playthrough, I've just kind of been either trying to talk to them. If that doesn't work, I try and give them their soul, which usually works, or I'll give them like a random knitted object. A sim guru might come out and say, actually, there is a way to appease these spirits and there's different ways that you can go about this that are specific to those spirits. But from my personal playthrough, that doesn't seem to be the case. But I also love the fact that alongside this freelance career, you could have a non-official freelance career, because if you do live in a haunted house, and I would suggest if you want to get the most out of this pack, at least create a haunted house once. It's how you're gonna experience the most of the gameplay in this pack. But if you live in a haunted house or you join the career, every so often you'll get rewards from the ghosts, and you can sell those to collectors for money, and also if you do have Get Famous, you can gain fame. I actually didn't try it with the retail system from Get to Work, but even better if you can sell those artifacts in a shop as well. I do love that because it definitely is reminiscent to me of the whole like horror genre, and people collect like ancient items and like sell them on to collectors. I absolutely love that. I'm so glad the team added it, and I think if you use that hand in hand with the career, it switches it up a little bit, because you're like, ooh, what am I gonna get? Like, what's gonna be the special treat that I get from the ghosties today? And I think if you make your money off that as well, it definitely makes the career feel a bit more authentic. This also might be the English language graduate in me jumping out, but it feels less like paranormal investigator, because when you get to the lot, you can see everything that's wrong with it. Like, you technically don't have to investigate. You're more of a cleanser in the sense that you're going into a space and you're eradicating it. So it's more like a exorciser, exorcism? I don't know what the job title for that would be. I watch ghost programs all the time and I don't know what they call them. But yeah, it's like less of a connecting to the spirits and like figuring out where they are and why this is happening, but more of a, hey, this is happening, I need someone to come and cleanse my home for me. When it comes to Bonehilda, I know there's been a lot of talk over the weekend. Bonehilda is not a costume. I want to throw that out there. She's not like the aliens from Batu. Her outfit isn't accessible in Create a Sim. Even if you do the cheat to unlock this stuff pack's Create a Sim, you cannot access her like skeleton outfit whatsoever. Yes, you can add her to your family. If you turn on testing cheats, you can shift click on her, you can add her to your family, you can take her into Create a Sim. If you do put a different outfit on her, she changes into a red-headed sim. It's the same for everyone. If you change her outfit, she will be this red-headed sim, which I don't know if this is correct, but someone pointed out that it reminded them of Moira from American Horror Story, and I love that. Like, if that's the lore, I'm all for it. She will turn into a regular sim. However, you can undo it and you can go back into your game and she will still be a skeleton. So she literally works the exact same way as the Grim Reaper, as Patchy from Seasons, as the robots from Discover University. She has a sim underneath her so that you can interact with her as if she were a sim. And her like showing up or changing halfway through into a human sim, I'm like 99% sure that's a glitch that's happening in some people's games. Hopefully they will fix that soon enough if it happens in a lot of people's games. I've played with her a fair few times now in my gameplay and she's always been a skeleton and she's never like tried to get in a bath or anything and she hasn't changed into a human sim. So I don't think she's programmed to work that way. It's just that that bug has occurred in some people's saves. And if you do want to complain about Bonehilda, complain about the fact that she just leaves the lot like any other normal sim. She's like, okay, guess I better go now. And she just walked out my front door and left. She didn't go back into her seance table, which I found really, really weird. And she also suffers the same problem as caterers do at parties. She just makes loads of food. Like, she'll just grab random food out of her pocket and put it down on the table for your Sims, which is really nice in theory, because you get loads of cookies that you get to eat. But then she doesn't clean them up. Like, she dismisses herself before they go off. And so you're just left with a ton of random food that you can't even, like, click and drag to delete. You have to have your Sim clean them up. And then there's just some other miscellaneous points. There is actually a crystal ball introduced, but it's not actually interactable in this pack. I would have liked to see it be interactable, even if it worked the same way as the future cube from the Sims 4 base game, and you just kind of click on it and you're like, tell me a fortune, and it gives you like the same notification as the future cube does. And also with Haunted House being a lot type, so it's exactly like a residential home or a tiny home, it gives you certain things that you can activate by living there and choosing it as a lot type. I personally think I might have preferred it as a lot trait. I don't know if having it as a lot trait would have restricted it a lot more than what it is. And I talked about this in my trailer reaction before I had even got my hands on this pack, that I knew this was going to be a limitation that I didn't like, is the fact that you can't apply that residential haunted home to any other building in The Sims 4. Like, you can't have a haunted community lot, which I would have loved. I think it definitely would have added more of a replayability factor to have it as a lot trait than a type, but again, I don't know the restrictions behind that and whether they would have been able to add all the stuff that they did with haunted houses as a trait. But like, imagine having a haunted bar or a haunted pub, or it would have made me actually use it a lot more in other buildings and other worlds that we do actually already have in the game. And it was always going to be hard for me to say that a stuff pack adds replayability, because I feel like stuff packs are so personal. Like for me, for example, Nifty Knitting adds so much replayability because I play with cute, cozy, and also creative Sims very, very often. However, other people absolutely hate that pack and find it so boring, whereas I would not hesitate to spend like $10.99 on that pack and get so much use out of it. Like I said, I think the biggest players who are gonna get replay value out of this pack are those people who like to play with occults and just want like a little bit of weirdness bringing back into their game. I will say I like the career, however, I'm probably not going to use it too much. Like, it's a nice option to have in my game, but I think I'll definitely take really long breaks between playing that job. And I also just wish there was a bit more freedom. I know it's limited to a stuff pack, so they obviously couldn't like add everything that I would have wanted to see, but I do think having a little bit of randomization to the interactions that you can have with the spooky elements of this pack would have made me enjoy it a little bit more. I'm sure you can tell how much I've been enjoying it through my Let's Play and the energy that I've been bringing to it, but I think that comes from a place of me absolutely loving paranormal stuff in the wider world and not just in The Sims, so I'm excited about it. I hope this video helped. It's obviously coming out tomorrow for everyone. Let me know how you feel about this pack. What would you prefer to have seen in this pack, or what do you really, really love about this pack? Are you going to pick it up? What are you excited for? I would love to hear your thoughts. But thank you all so much for tuning in. I hope this video helped you, and I will speak to you all in my next one. Bye!